In progress. Hello, it's the Time Enough podcast where we get into episodes of The Twilight Zone and beyond. This is Matt here. We're doing our namesake episode today, Time Enough at Last. So we're going triple duty here. Andrew's at an undisclosed location.
Correct.
In your bunker.
Yes.
In a bank vault, maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
Luke's next to me, so I know where he is, I think.
You're in my house.
And so... I'm also at his place. I've podcasted from your place before when you were here, though.
That is true, yeah.
It's happened. So this is Time Enough at Last. A few people I contacted, this was like the only Twilight Zone episode they actually knew. So
yeah,
it is the most ubiquitous one, I suppose. And I'll start and just rattle off a little bit of the trivia here. For this one, we have not quite gotten out Rod Serling's initial writing blast for the series, but we will note that he adapted this from Len Venable's short story of the same title. This was Burgess Meredith's first appearance on The Twilight Zone. He'll appear in 3 more episodes and narrated Twilight Zone, the movie. It's a two-faced coin toss if his ultimate legacy is The Twilight Zone or appearing as the Penguin in the Batman TV show. I almost didn't want to mention Jacqueline DeWitt, as she absolutely makes your skin crawl as Henry's wife, Ellen, but that just means she did her job. She also did her job in a myriad of films, including Spellbound and Little Giant, an Abbott and Costello feature. As for TV, she also appeared on shows like Wagon Train and The Monkees. Vaughn Taylor played the bank president, and he was a man of many anthology series like Kraft Television Theater and Robert Montgomery Presents. He also made appearances in some absolute classic films like Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Psycho. Since this podcast recording schedule is a touch wonky, I'll have more to say about director John Bram in 2 weeks, but we still need to say the undying monster.
I'm going to give some critiques. I think you sound a bit too much like you're reading something. You need to work those in more smoothly to the podcast.
Yeah.
That's what you need to work on.
Right. I'll work on that. Okay, well, now you're going to read something. Andrew, you don't get the prologue today because it's on my iPad, and I'd have to do
That's
it like
cool
this,
with me, man.
and it would be like really annoying.
Yeah.
So here is that prologue.
Witness Mr. Henry Bemis, a charter member in the Fraternity of Dreamers, a bookish little man whose passion is the printed page, but who is conspired against by a bank president and a wife and a world full of tongue cluckers and the unrelenting hands of a clock. But in just a moment, Mr. Bemis will enter a world without bank presidents or wives or clocks or anything else. He'll have a world all to himself without anyone.
It's good for a day or two.
It's good that I heard that out loud already yesterday, because as my eyes were moving ahead of what I was reading, I thought it said, like, he lives in a world of cucks.
Well, he is one, isn't he?
Yeah.
I guess I'll just flat out state that this is not my favorite episode of The Twilight Zone by like a long shot.
No? Why?
I think maybe, we just did the Twilight Zone movie on our other podcast where I was like, yeah, Burgess Meredith is great. And I don't know if he's great here. And I'm kind of saying the same thing here. So I'll just tell people if they want to jump ahead to the late season 2 episode, The Obsolete Man, he's fantastic in that.
Yeah.
Like I love him in that, but
yeah,
maybe it's like a little too cartoonish.
I find, so I haven't actually seen much Twilight Zone yet. This is the first time I'm recording one of these. I watched a couple because, I'm the kind of dweeb who watched Twilight Zone when he was a teenager, but not that many. But I was very familiar with this one from pop culture, right? I've seen this in The Simpsons. I've seen it in Futurama. And I think I can understand why it's not your favorite. I can see why it's stuck in so many people's minds. Because it's not like there's some big moral or anything. It's just, hey, what if you saw some really, really awful stuff happen to a nice little man? And I knew the ending. I knew exactly what was coming. I still felt it.
Yeah.
I felt horrible for this dude.
The images do sear in your brain. I guess I don't feel so horrible for this dude. He makes me think of the insurance salesman in Groundhog's Day, kind of.
No, what I feel like I've been this guy. Because, I do just want to have some time to read my books or play some video games.
Well, no, that
And, you
that
know,
is the hook. We're all there. We all would love to just have a few hours to do whatever, whack thing we feel like doing at that moment.
and I've been in relationships where it's like, no, you gotta talk to me. You know, like. So yeah, I get it. Also, my main takeaway was like, if you made this story today, you couldn't have those characters acting that way about reading. It would be playing games, right?
Yeah.
But it just shows you like every new thing has the same reaction. So in 20 years' time, when all of our kids are, shoving media into their eyeballs or whatever, we're going to be like, why don't you go outside and play with a real controller like I did in my day?
Get out of the metaverse for a bit.
Yeah, it's just, it's all just the same cycle of people not understanding.
So, Andrew, where does this one sit in your universe?
I mean, it was always on the marathons, like they had to show it. And so I think it's just, I think it's played out compared to other episodes, and that's why people know it a lot. It's just like a really great band who's done tons of great albums, but everyone's stuck on the single, And so for me, seeing it as a kid, though, I got how I was disturbed by it. I was like, that sucks.
Yep.
Because I understood, I was the type of kid that didn't want to just, sit and read or whatever. And but now as an adult and having read books about Rod Serling and all of this other stuff and just grown up as an adult, particularly now, to me, it makes me think about anti-intellectualism and how he dealt with that when trying to get the Twilight Zone made. And he probably was a bit of this guy as well, and that's why he recognized the story. And I think that's one of the reasons why he put it out there, is because he dealt with a lot of mouth breathers, man. He dealt with a lot of anti-intellectuals or people that just didn't get it. And he's just like, I wish I could just do my thing undisturbed in my bubble. He wanted to just have free reign as a writer. And so I can't help but relate that when I watch this particular episode.
For like primetime TV from 1964, 54.
59 or 60
59,
at this
yeah,
point,
whatever.
probably.
I'm getting confused with the thing we're going to record later. This is a great critique of capitalism. Like the bank manager is just like, no, you don't exist to do the things that interest you. You exist to be a cog in the machine.
Yes.
And it's the great irony of capitalism that capitalism can only continue to exist by selling us these bread and circuses. But it doesn't actually want us to stop and enjoy them. Like that, I had this experience a couple of nights ago. I was too tired to do anything, but I wanted to play video games. So I just ended up going on my Switch and buying more games. Because that was what I had the energy to do, was to scroll through the shop and be like, oh, that's on sale. I'll play that eventually. I'll never play it.
Right.
I don't have time or energy to play games, but it's fun buying them. And
Yeah.
that's what capitalism wants me to do. It wants me to buy a load of books, put them on my shelf.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah.
it's true.
From my perspective, I guess it's, like work time off, right? Usually a lot of times I don't care too much. I mean, it's always nice to have your time off, but it's like, whatever, it's the week, it'll be the weekend soon. But when I do have something to do, then it does get like, I'm looking a little more forward to that weekend. So I made like a bunch of songs in August and September, and it was actually like bugging me. And then October and November, I kind of slowed down, like I don't care anymore. And just this week, I got like 3 things I need to like mix and finish. So now I'm like, I need to get home and finish them. So it's the, it's like my own drive to do these things is, it's like I don't want anything getting in the way at this moment. So that is where the I guess the Harry Bemis vibe comes in.
Yeah, true. But as a production, I do like I did rewatch it for this episode, even though I kind of didn't need to. But I started just sort of looking at it as a production and as a filmmaker, watching it like this, seeing all the smart ways they did stuff, like the ways he kind of avoided cliche, particularly when the bomb goes off. There's no like big explosion, stock footage, things like that. There's never the, like, even now, if they had something like this, it would kill them not to stay on the guy and just shake the room the way they did. I think the whole set was on springs or something, including the camera, to get that effect. I just thought it was really great, very refreshing way to, and probably just because of the low budget, but man, of all the ways you could show, the nuclear blast, or what was it, the H bomb, it was very creative in that way.
One thing I really love about that scene is the first thing we see the bomb do is destroy his clock and open his book.
But yeah, I think one of the reasons this is considered basically, arguably the most iconic episode of the series is that the visuals definitely do burn into your brain. Like, I think anyone that's seen this can like imagine the it's just like a matte painting, right? And like a few pieces of rubble on the actual set, but it looks good. It burns in your brain. Henry's ridiculously thick glasses burn in your brain. His organizing and stacking of books on the library steps, that sticks in your brain. I don't know how the book survived a H-bomb blast, but whatever.
No human would stack books like that, by the way.
Yeah. It's like, wouldn't he have to like read through books where like half the pages are like charred or something? You can read.
I mean, surprising stuff survives these things.
Yeah.
It's a big old stone library. True.
But yeah, all those images do stick in your brain. Where another episode, which might be more like psychologically deep, it might even be like, more mind-bending in a way, doesn't necessarily have those images.
No, it wasn't known for its visuals for the most part, and I think that was the MGM backlot that they used. I want to say that same set was used in it had to have been used in a more than one show, but the movie The Time Machine, the George Powell's film.
Those steps were the like Aloy building in Time Machine. Yeah.
Okay, see, I figure I thought I remembered reading about something like that at one point, but it's so striking, and definitely the crushed glasses, and him oh nuts. It's like, well, at least you can masturbate still. It didn't blow your hand off.
He hasn't been able to do that for 20 years, man.
Yeah,
well, now his wife's gone. Maybe he can get some time enough at last.
Maybe he's not the kind of guy you can masturbate without something to see,
Oh gosh. Well, then he's in trouble.
Yeah. Like the Mr. Shows sketch where he's like, no, I have to watch and I have to be naked and look at the hole through the wall while cake is cooling. People get very specific.
I don't know how far I'm allowed to take this on this podcast, so I'm going to stay quiet on this line of jokes.
Yeah. We'll drop that. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention I decided to keep it. Well, it's. I mean, let's face it. Whoever's listening is probably able to handle that.
The reason it's good to do that on podcasts is a lot of people play them out loud in their house and have kids.
Just turn it up at that moment.
I've heard that coming up recently on that podcast.
If someone asks you about that, then it's time to have the talk with them.
I got for Christmas one year a book of obscure laws from around the world, and I just remember reading it on Christmas Day, and I'm like 13. Mom, what's masturbation?
Oh, that happened to me. We were playing Trivial Pursuit, right? And I was like 6 or something, and I pick up the card and I read the question to my parents, which is like, how many testicles did Adolf Hitler have?
That was such a. I remember you telling me about this when we were kids. I remember this.
Now I think he had one.
Hitler, he's only got one ball. The other is in the Albert Hall. His mother cut it off when he was small.
But the card said 3.
I'm pretty sure he just had 2. And that's a song that British soldiers made up.
Okay.
But
well, if we trust Trivial Pursuit, add one.
Yep. How'd they find out?
I know. In one of the Sniper Elite games, it's got like really graphic X-ray shots when you kill people. But there's a mission where you kill Hitler, and if you shoot him in the balls, he's got one.
Well, then there you have it.
That's a graphic game. Okay.
Parker Brothers lose. The game wins.
How have we gone this far off?
Well, I guess the question would be like, what would you do if you come out into your steaming mass of rubble?
Basically what he did. I'm assuming I wouldn't have electricity, so I can't play video games, which is what I'd like to have time to do.
Right.
So I'd read a bunch of books, maybe write. I mean, what I'd actually do is die of radiation poisoning.
Good point. I mean, he's covered in fallout.
Like when we did Duck and Cover a few years, which is like 5 years before this.
Probably more actually, but yeah.
We were again the same thing. We were like, oh, no one's talking about radiation. Which is because for a long time the US government tried to cover that up. after Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
There were educational films about fallout and radiation by this point. I mean, it's not like it was a secret at this point.
Yeah, I mean, by 59 it should have been.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't necessarily well known.
Right. But yeah,
the audience wouldn't have been sat there like, what about the radiation? Like dorks are in 2021.
Yeah, Mr. Bemis isn't going to have to find something to do for too long. So his hair falls out after the episode and his teeth the next day. So
yeah, he's only got like 2 days to play with his Bemis before.
Right.
Yeah, that falls off. Yeah. And eventually, of course, the eyes go.
Yeah.
Well, your Twilight Zone would be here in Japan. So when you found the library, all the books would be in Japanese.
True, I'd have to find that's what I do. I finally study and learn Japanese.
And have no one to speak it to.
I mean, right. Is the world, all he knows is that his city's been bombed. There could be plenty of civilization further away.
Or we might meet some mutants very soon, making this a very
I
different
thought
story.
immediately of mutants. I thought of I Am Legend,
Right.
I went right from this into I Am Legend.
What I like about, I think I said the same thing when we did Dawn of the Dead. I actually like it more when they spend time on just the solitude and the world is empty. And I'm not bothered about seeing the mutants turn up or the zombies turn up or some antagonist. I think the loneliness is more interesting.
You want the quiet Earth, even though that movie's not the best of these.
I want the first half of I Am Legend, not the back
There you
half.
go. Yeah.
With
Night of the
Price,
Comet.
Charlton Heston or Will Smith?
I'm thinking was Will Smith's one, the only one that was called I Am Legend, right? They gave them nonsense.
Oh,
With,
Last
like,
Man
the
on Earth
Omega
is the
Man
Price
stuff.
one. Yeah. Same
Yeah.
story, which is a Twilight Zone writer, actually. So those are all Richard Matheson, who shows up in a few episodes. I accidentally called him Water in some episode, but that's because the character was Water there.
One thing I find surprising is that Burgess Meredith is considered this like classic Twilight Zone guy, but only did you say 3 episodes?
4, including this one.
So the actors don't recur that much. Then,
Not that much. He's probably one of the most common Diazens of the show.
Because it ran for 60 odd episodes, right?
Oh, the whole show?
Well, I mean the
150.
50s one.
Yeah, 150 episodes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, he's just
guys 20 top for 4. That's pretty whack.
Bill Mummy
he's
shows up
associated
twice.
with the most well-known one, so he's synonymous with Twilight Zone. There he
Shatner
goes.
twice. Shatner's very synonymous with Twilight Zone, and really, it's only one of those that really has a major hit, right?
I was going to say, before I'd watched any Twilight Zone, I knew about this one and the Shatner one.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a very famous one too, though.
Yeah, but I guess
Very-
also I grew up A in the UK and B 10 years after you guys. So I think there was just less of like Twilight Zone being rerun and stuff.
Yeah.
growing up.
Even for us, I mean, we've said before that I never caught the New Year's marathons of Twilight Zone, but most of the people I've had on so far are like, yeah, I'd watch the New Year, and Andrew being one of them, being like, I watched the New Year's marathons, and yeah, I think TOS Trek is the only New Year's marathon I ever caught. So,
Well, it's even fewer people realize that the Elvira's show Movie Macabre was in syndication, and we actually got it on our local channel. I remember watching Movie Macabre on Saturdays. It was like an early Mystery Science Theater.
I guess I'll start getting into the couple of questions I like to plonk out here. I think the question of who actually went to the Twilight Zone in this episode is relatively simple, since there's
Everyone else in his city.
Yeah. Oh, is he the only one not in the Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
Till his glasses break, at least.
Yeah.
But he's so bizarre. He kind of is the Twilight Zone in this case.
I don't think he's that bizarre.
Okay,
He's just a geeky little man.
Yeah.
Like maybe that was bizarre for like 1959 television, but
Well, they say
plenty of this
bookish.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this shade of geek doesn't quite resonate with me for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why.
I think that's come up a few times though. Because you hung out with like band people and music people as a kid,
Right.
whereas I hung out with Beamises. I was the cool one. Like,
My high school had a bit of that because we were like the smart kids. So that,
Yeah.
sometimes being the smart kids makes you socially a little bit of a weird key in the lock.
mhm.
Yeah, we were comic book readers and horror movie magazine readers and things like that. That put us on the odds a little bit, but we didn't kind of look the part either.
No, that was the point of playing music, right?
Yes.
As
Many
they-
dates were gotten after that.
As they say in Days to Confuse, you got to join the football team or you start a band.
Mhm. It was very, very true.
I found the third option as class clown.
There's that one too. Yes.
So I managed to be friends with everyone. I fit into all the niches.
Yeah, I kind of like bump around and talk to them and talk to these people. I hope I don't think I'm on anyone's kill list. I think so.
I think I'm on a couple.
Yeah.
I've been known to take a joke too far once or twice.
But let's I guess we'll take the tack that Bemis is the focus.
Yeah.
Does he deserve any of this? I mean, no. Like yeah, you've been saying it from the start. He was pretty much on the poopy end of the stick.
I think that's, like I said, that's one of the reasons this one sticks in your head, is because it's just start to finish. This guy's lot in life is awful. He briefly gets a break in the worst possible way, and then that goes wrong too. Like, you can barely even find a moral in it. If there's a moral, it's like, he shouldn't have been wasting his life in the first place, right? He should have left his wife and read his books.
That is a whole thing. Like how did they get together? And why did she stay with him? She seemed to just detest him, I guess that was back then. The value system was
it's the 50s, right?
Yeah.
They were an arranged marriage.
Well, they were just like, they were the last two guys from their graduating class, so they just got married, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't divorce people back then. So
yeah.
that's why, like, all of stand-up comedy was just complaining about your wife.
Don't forget airline food.
Maybe that's where and it is, as an icon, it is a cool episode. Like I said, the visuals do stick there, but
I mean, post-apocalyptic visuals still basically just look like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've had 60 years of that exact look. So
I guess it's in 25 minutes. The show is usually very adept at sketching like a three-dimensional character. And here it's pretty much all caricatures. So
yeah, and I do agree with your assessment that he's kind of like a cartoon, but they need to paint in broad strokes because most of the story has to occur once it's bombed out, so they got only half the time really to set him up and work on anything of character.
One thing I think would be done different, A, today, and B, if you had more time, I think you would talk less if you made this now. Well, like, obviously it's very TV for the guy to just be talking to himself to the camera the whole time. Whereas I think a modern director would be more willing to just let the show have a lot of silence.
It's still 20 years ago. How much did Tom Hanks talk to himself in Castaway?
Well, yeah, but Wilson.
Well, he had Wilson to talk to, but
sure.
Yeah, Bemis could actually find a book to make his friend, I guess. Draw a little smile.
Yeah, I think even I Am Legend, right? Will Smith, he makes himself a little mannequin friend to talk to. But all of that is just, that's just film tricks.
Now it would be he'd be some kind of maniac and he'd set a bomb to go off in the bank so he could blow the whole bank and get to read by himself in a vault. But instead he blows his arms off and can't hold a book.
You could probably use your feet to flip the pages if you needed to.
I don't know if I can still do it. I used to be able to eat a pack of Doritos with my feet.
No, I
like a party
definitely.
They don't have to stop to change the way they smell.
Taco and toe jam Doritos.
What's the difference?
I can't think of a Dorito flavor that rhymes with Earl, so I was going to make a toe jam and Earl joke.
Oh, okay.
If any listeners can think of a Doritos flavor that rhymes with Earl, please write in.
We made tacos on Sunday, and my wife finally corralled me into cooking because I'm terrible at cooking. I tried my best, but when you put the meat into the taco shell, you could just hear go plunk 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 because I didn't do a good job.
Oh wow.
Matt's got some dry meat.
She was like, cook it till the water's gone. I'm like, okay. No, that's just grease. I'm like, what's the difference between water and grease? I mean, I can't tell from sight, can I?
Well, viscous.
Make tacos a little more often. You'll get it.
Yes. Maybe next time. As long as I remember the basic procedure, I guess.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Yeah, we got 2 more mixes, man. They're on sale. Tacos are hard to come by in Japan, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I know the super bugs really
Well, not impossible, but they're not like they are in the States.
No, it's easier to get them here than it is in the UK.
Okay.
I love Mexican food, but it barely exists in the UK.
No, yeah, you can Atlanta, you can find some very authentic stuff. So so let's put this one on the tripometer, 0 being not trippy at all, 5 being quite trippy. Decimals, of course, okay. Luke, it's your first time putting an episode on the tripometer.
In terms of trip, I just like a 2.
Yeah.
Like it's all very, it could happen.
It happened. Yeah.
Like it would suck, but it could happen.
See, I've done a few where we maybe took a point off because it was like a Western, and Westerns aren't that trippy, or it's just in the desert. And actually deserts can be trippy, but it's still, plain. And this one, I feel like Apocalypse adds score for me. Like
Possibly, but like we're sat in the country where this happened twice.
Yeah.
So
but because of the, like the Mad Max vibe or whatever. Well, it doesn't have a Mad Max vibe, but the situation, the day after all that, I was willing to kind of bump it up to about 3.4.
I guess it's your definition of trip, right?
That's why I'm asking the question.
Because to me, it's not trippy.
Yeah.
Trippy is like something a bit weird or impossible has to happen. It's science fiction, but it's very close to science fact.
I guess Bemis trips me out, and that adds some score. Andrew, where are you on this?
I mean, I'm with you about the apocalyptic stuff. I think if there's ever a moment where someone would go, whoa, oh shit, that bumps it up, and I think this episode does have 2 of those moments. One where it's revealed that the world is blown up and he's the only survivor, and again when the glasses break. It's 2 moments where like, fog. I'm sorry, there I threw off your whole thing.
I have a great bleep, by the way. So
I gotta yeah, I'll remember that for next time.
Don't worry, we're gonna record the sanctuary in a minute. You can swear what you want.
I don't want to create more work for anyone.
But yeah, this is, I guess, most people's entry point into the show because it's the first one in the marathon. It's the first one you would seek out. I mean, this or Nightmare at 20,000 Feet or Baby Monsters on Maple Street would probably be your first entry for the show.
Oh, I don't know. Monsters. See, I feel like Monsters is like for people who know that's their favorite. But I still don't tend to get a lot of recognition when I mention that episode, like the casual viewer. Like, what's the one where the guy? And what was about the one with the guy? But it's never, because there's not the one with the guy thing about Monsters on Maple Street. It's just like incredibly prescient and amazing.
I guess it's a matter of perspective. Like one of the guys I have coming on to do a few episodes, like, I'll try and choose some like underrated classic ones. And he's like, one of them was like, Stop It Willoughby. And I'm like, that's like my number 2 episode of the entire series.
Yeah,
I don't see that one as being obscure.
Yeah, I know. They remember Talkie Tina. They remember the one with the farmhouse and the old lady with the robots. I like Is Anyone There, where she keeps getting the phone calls during the storm. And it, it's the line has been laid on her dead husband's grave.
Yeah,
that's where the call.
But this is many people's first episode, so
it is because I mean, not just with the marathon, but it's, I don't know, if you had to choose a still from the Twilight Zone, they would put a still of him with the glasses. That's what it would be.
Or the gremlin in the window.
Yeah, true. Oh gosh, yeah, that'd be a toss up between those then.
Yeah.
Plopping this one out today, Andrew. You wanna go on your end of the pluggy side?
Oh sure. Well, if one likes short subjects with twisty and trippy stuff, take yourself to gonzoriffic.com. GONZORIFFIC. From there, you can check out our new movies like Areola Jones and the Home Video Vixens, Bad Girl Dracula, and Space Boobs in Space.
Right on.
If you'd like hearing my voice, you can hear me do podcasts. I do a Pokemon podcast. Luke Loves Pokemon. You can find that on Twitter at Luke Loves PKMN. It's also on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those places. I do a Monster Hunter podcast with my pals. You can find, it's called Monster Mash. You can find that at Monster Mash Pod on Twitter. More recently, I've been streaming on Twitch, playing Pokemon Shining Pearl. That's 8 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, GMT. And you can find that at twitch.tv/LukeLovesPKMN.
Gee, Luke, what time is that for you?
That's 5 a.m. for me.
There's some commitment, folks. You got to get onto that Twitch. This
Yeah.
is time.
Most people don't even watch it live. They watch the recorded one later. So like,
You get a few comments, so yeah.
yeah, there's always at least one person watching and chatting to me. So.
This is Time Enough Podcast. Check it out on Twitter, Facebook. Listen to it on the feed. You're already listening to it on. Luke and I also talk sci-fi flicks on Luke and Matt Sci-Fi Sanctuary. MLSFS Pod. That came out right. I'm amazed. Okay. Also Twitter, Facebook, all that. I got a new album. It's at rovingsagemedia.bandcamp.com of me trying to do my own Twilight Zone of making an album that was created in 1970, even though I just made it.
It'll always be 1970 for Matt.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least, 2 out of 3 of podcasters in here don't need to worry about the glasses, but sorry, Andrew.
Hey, check it out.
There we go. Okay, we're all good. We can make it through an apocalypse, except for that whole radiation poisoning thing.
When I had my medical this year, they said I had the eyesight of a junior high school student.
What does that mean?
Like I've got really good eyesight.
Okay. Because
At the eyes of a junior high school student. They're in a jar on my desk.
I don't know. I got junior high school students. They sit in the back and they're like squinting at the board and they can't read it. So
because they're playing those video games, reading their comic books. They've lost the art communication. They can't see. Weedy little arms.
Get your nose into a book.